What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? And today I'm going to be talking about Doom 3. We are revisiting this game through backwards compatibility on the PlayStation 5. Now, there is one thing I would really like to put in here before we venture on in this video. And Doom 3 is the first reboot of the Doom series, ignoring the events of the previous games. And the reason why I decided to think about that is because Doom 3 is a very much different type of game, even though it does take place in comparison of Doom 2016, actually fits into the framework of Doom 3's timeline and takes place 4 years after the events of Doom 3, with no direct contradicting elements and contains several shared events. Now, it's kind of awkward how that works, but, I didn't really realize that until now, because I literally had to look it up, and that's basically not what I'm talking about. I'm talking, basically what I'm saying is that I actually ended up paraphrasing that so that way I don't get into trouble here. But that's the reason why I love this game. Even though it does, take place before the events of Doom 2016, but however, that's what I love about Doom 3. Doom 3 is a reboot. It's not a direct sequel or any sorts, but as I previously just mentioned, it is a little bit, but not really. But that's where Doom 3 fits so differently from that of from the original series, Doom 1 and Doom 2 and Final Doom. And I remember playing those original games, and I love those games, and I think that's another reason why I think Doom 3 has a really special place in my heart. Yes, I do agree that Doom 1 and Doom 2, however, do have some horror aesthetics to it. And not in terms of the combat, but, in terms of its, environmental structures of the game, and the concept of how those games really intertwine along with, the corridor shooting, however, because that's what the original Doom games did. Doom 3 is very much that of a corridor shooter, but it's not an on-rails. An on-rails shooter is basically, it's kind of like those games, I think they're called Left 4 Dead or something like that. It's not Left 4 Dead, but I don't know what it is. But you understand where I'm getting to. And so what I'm saying is that I think where Doom 3 is concerned, it's definitely one of my favorite games in the series, amongst from that of Doom 64, which is another one of my favorite games in the series as well. But going back to Doom 3, I feel like that Doom 3 it's the black sheep of the whole entire Doom series or saga, because a lot of people didn't quite understand why this game even existed. But the reason why this game exists, and I made a video on this game before, a couple years ago, if I remember correctly, and this game was initially a technical powerhouse when it first initially released back in 2004, whether if it was on PC or on the original Xbox. Especially on the original Xbox, because I remember vividly, or a little bit, is that when you played Doom 3 on the original Xbox, it was more non-linear, it was more claustrophobic than the BFG edition, as you see here, because with the BFG edition, it's a little bit more open. And what I will say about the Doom 3 BFG edition as well, I don't think a lot of people know this, is that the Doom 3 BFG edition is in fact a PC port. It is not the original game from back that of 2004. It is the same game, but it's more open. It's not less corridor like as it was, with its original iteration back on the original Xbox. So like I said, for those of you who do not know that, now you know. And, it's interesting how I mentioned that, though, too, because I remember, looking information up about Doom 3. And I actually initially found out that, as I previously mentioned, that Doom 3 is the PC port, which is known as the BFG edition on the console. Whether if you're on PlayStation or on Xbox, it doesn't matter. Now, one thing I would really, really like to say is that this game still looks absolutely amazing. Other than its technical prowess that this game has, This game was ahead of its time when it was initially released. It really was, because it really showed its really cool and unique graphic fidelity, and it had a very interesting lighting effects and shadow effects, and how it became more not just of a first-person shooter as it is, but it's more of a horror themed. And that's why I really like Doom 3, is because, other than it being the black sheep, as I said before, it's still a great game. I mean, I love this game, and I think that's another reason why I like this game so much, is because it doesn't have any kind of problems, as I would say. I haven't had any types of gameplay glitches or anything when it comes to, the remastered version of this game, especially known as the BFG edition. And like I say, this game plays fluid and smoothly, and so it's just like, it's amazing of how far we've come to where, as games like this in general, not just because of Doom 3 being a first-person shooter as it is, but like I was saying about its graphical fidelity, its visual fidelity, and its sound fidelity, it's absolutely amazing what this game absolutely shows. And to me personally, it still looks amazing, as I previously mentioned. It really, really does. It really holds up pretty well, because normally, like I said, when I played this game back on the original Xbox back in 2004, which was the same year as with Thief Deadly Shadows came out on the original Xbox as well. And so it was like I said, with Doom 3, it was a benchmark. It was a total benchmark on the original Xbox, and it was a benchmark on the PC, because for what I understand is that this game really had a hard time. I don't think it had a hard time running on the PC, but you had to do certain types of tweaks in order to even have it run the game, to my understanding. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe I might just be spurting out my butt. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm just trying to put this out there. But overall, I think that Doom 3 is definitely one of the most pivotal games of it being the third wheel, as it were, in the Doom series as well, because it was because of the fact that, the gunplay. I think the gunplay in Doom 3 was very interesting, and it was... I'm not saying that it wasn't this... Obviously, Doom 3 was really horror-focused, but to me, in my personal opinion, I really think that it made it justice. I really think that it really did it well, because, we don't have a lot of... I mean, I'm sure that we don't have a lot of horror games with some first-person shooter elements, but I think when it came to Doom 3 just did a really good job with that, and I love the atmosphere. I love the concept of it. I love the fact of how well this game was really well designed, and that's another reason why I like this game so much. Other than the fact that with Doom 3 being compared to that, to the original franchise, or being compared to possibly Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal. But you gotta understand, it's like when it came to Doom Eternal or Doom 2016, those games were basically a modernized Doom from that of the originals. They really were, because Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 were very much more of a polished original concept of what the original Doom games were. And that's what's fascinating about the newer titles. But as far as when Doom 3 is concerned, it wasn't like Doom Eternal, or it wasn't like Doom 2016, because yes, it still has that first-person shooter mechanics. Yes, it has the same mechanics of that, being a corridor shooter as it is. But like I said, you cannot grasp or even try to compare between Doom 3 and Doom Eternal or Doom 2016, because those games were more of a benchmark than Doom 2003, because they, like I previously mentioned, they are a modernized Doom. They were heavily influenced on the original Doom games, and that's what I loved about Doom Eternal and Doom 2016. However, I did make two videos on Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. I was more positive positive on Doom 2016 than Doom Eternal because, like as I previously mentioned in my Doom Eternal video, I did not like it at all. Even though I finished it, I just didn't like it. It felt like I don't need to repeat it here, so I'm not going to do that. But overall, I think that Doom 3 is definitely one of the most, to me, it's the most pivotal. It's the most interesting game of all because not just as I previously mentioned, being a horror aesthetic to it, or its uniqueness of what this game really looks like, even if it's an older game as it is, because it's a very old game. It's a very old game. But as you can see here, you can see that this game still looks absolutely stunning. I can't fully understand why this game actually ended up getting critically acclaimed for some people. But however, some people really didn't like it as far as I know because it kind of really differentiated itself from the other Doom games, and it's quite understandable. And I get that. But however, I think that's where Doom 3 to me falls under to where that it's definitely my favorite one in the series because it's not just an FPS, but it's the horror concept and the aesthetic of this game itself. And what I will say about Doom 3 too is that I love the weapons. I think the weapons look absolutely amazing. I love the assault rifle that they have. I love the shotgun, even though it reloads a little bit slower than usual. But however, it's just one of those things that's where this game, Doom 3, really like I said, it falls under the horror aspect and the concept of it. And that's why, as far as with Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal, you weren't able to reload at all. And that's why those games were a much more fast-paced FPS than Doom 3, or even the originals, because you weren't able to actually reload your weapons in the originals. But the only game that we are able to reload is in Doom 3. And like I said, that's where I feel, even though that this game still falls under its same genre, which is the FPS, obviously, that's a little bit of a duh. But however, I just think that Doom 3 is definitely still going to be my all-time favorites of the whole entire series because my reasons why. I already told that. But anyways, that's all I can say about this game. One thing I will say in particular is that, I just love the systems of the game. It's one of my favorites that I've seen amongst other Doom games, even from Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal, or even the original franchise, like 1993, 94, 96, with Final Doom, Doom 2, and regular Doom. Those games were like the benchmark of the FPS genre amongst from Wolfenstein 3D, and it just fascinates me to no end. And that's why I think Doom, other than Wolfenstein, is one of the most benchmarked and most pivotal, important games in the FPS genre and as a whole in the video game industry. It's one of the most, like I said, it's one of the most important ones. And so what I will say here is that I do highly recommend still playing this game in 2023. Like I said, it still looks great. I still have a lot of fun with this game, and that's all I have to say about that. But anyways, this is Jake from Citizen JVM, and I will chat with you guys later. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and make it a good one.
Stay sharp.
Peace.